Hey guys, welcome back to Pistons Talk Podcast. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. We are joined once again by ClutchPoints.com, Detroit Pistons beat reporter Eric Vincent. Eric, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Happy to be here, man. Fresh off a 35th birthday. Shout out to everybody. Wish me a happy birthday. And I'm excited to be here. My niece did a lot of the promo on my social media. Shout out to Noah. I know she's watching right now with my family. So I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good episode.
Awesome. Love to hear that you got that family support, man.
Sure.
That's huge. It's huge. Before we do jump into today's podcast, I actually want to just wish all the veterans a happy Memorial Day for tomorrow, and all the veterans that have served and people that are in the military that are serving. We appreciate you here on this podcast. But there was a lot of all NBA stuff we're going to get into. I want to start first with the all rookie teams. Now, we'll get into Ron Holland because you know how Pistons fans are. Everyone's snubbed. Like it's just a thing at the end of the day. But we'll just go over the first team and second team and kind of like talk about Ron and why he was, left off this list. So we got Stephon Castle, Zachary Ricochet, Jalen Wells, Zach Edey, Alex Sarr. Probably the only guy that I was kind of maybe surprised by was Jalen Wells. But like when you saw the first team, did you think this was probably how it was going to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by any of the names. I know Wells had some, good performances for the Grizzlies. Castle was red hot for a good chunk of the season. Ricochet, caught a groove as well. I'm not really that upset about it. I mean, again, I know the Detroit versus everybody stigma and the mentality that a lot of fans have when it comes to awards, and we're going to get into a lot of that. I just don't really think it really applies, unfortunately, for Ron. I love Ron. I love, his dad, really optimistic about what Ron Holland's upside can be for this team. But I just don't see the case for him over any of these names here on this list. I feel like these guys are all heavily relied on for their franchise, and you could really make the case that that's not the circumstances for Ron Holland. Ron was a guy that was the energy guy that came off the bench, provided a lot of spark for him, which they just needed a Swiss Army knife to kind of turn the trajectory around, or at the very least just say, hey, don't mess things up while we got a lead going right now. So it's not a snub at all. I love Ron, but I have no issue at all with this rookie team or even the next team as well.
Yeah, the next team we'll get into, I did actually kind of make a mess up here. That's not Alex Sarr, that's Yivi Messi, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's the center. Khalil Ware, who I was actually really, really high on in the pre-draft evaluations, which still are really high on him, but he
Mm-hmm.
made second team. Donovan Clingan, pick right after Ron, which I still thought we were drafting Clingan. Drafting. I don't know about you, man. The camera kept pointing at him. I was like, "Are we gonna draft Clingan? Like, what the fuck's going on?" Bob Carrington, and then Montas Bazelis, Ron's teammate from the G League Ignite. I know someone had said, Ron should have made second all rookie, but I've expected nothing less from the NBA Detroit versus everybody. Here's my thing. If Ron played more minutes, I think you could have a case.
Mm-hmm.
I, I felt like his role when Ausar was out, he did have a defined role off the bench. He was getting minutes. Once Ausar came back, he kind of saw his minutes, diminish a little bit. He was still playing, but every player on this graphic either played off the bench or at least got starter level minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, that's really all it comes down to. I feel like the second team can kind of be a crapshoot just based on what your role is for your team. Ron didn't have the most impressive numbers. I mean, only averaged like 6 points a game, 2 rebounds. It was really nothing super staggering. It wasn't a whole lot of like signature performances where you looked at Ron and thought, okay, maybe this is a breakout star, or a lot of those kind of things. Like, granted, the skill set is there. I love his ability as a downhill scorer. Even in half court set, I think he's really underrated in that regard as well. And as a defender, I mean, he got a lot of bad fouls called on him where I don't think he really should have got them, but being the rookie in situations where he's guarding a lot of the top flight scorers and he's not going to get the benefit of the whistle guarding some of the, elite scorers in the NBA. So it's again, there's a lot of things that you could have an issue with in terms of how the awards have played out this offseason or this season. I just don't think Ron Holland's name is one of them. The good news is, and I've talked to his father before, I don't think he'd mind me sharing this information. He's not worried about it either. Like once the Pistons were in line for the playoffs, that's where their mentality was. I mean, he had a lot of motivation when he was snubbed from the, what was it, the All-Star rookie sophomore game.
Yeah.
He was kind of upset about that. But, again, once things lined up a little bit better and they had a winning streak where they were postseason bound, you have different kind of expectations at that point. So, I mean, granted, you obviously want all the kind of accolades you can get for your name as a pro, but he, as his father said, he wasn't really, concerned about it because they had bigger goals. And obviously with where they're looking at now, it's much bigger things to worry about than these kind of awards.
I was kind of surprised, and I'll kind of circle back to this all rookie team. I was kind of surprised he didn't make, I think it's rising stars versus like all rookies or like whatever. Rookies versus sophomores, which they should just go back to that anyways. Like, I don't even know why they try to complicate.
Yes.
I'm not going to get an All-Star weekend, man. I know we talked about All-Star weekend and why it's terrible. But like, I'm not surprised. Like, he has that mindset. He seems like the type of player where, like, if he doesn't make a team, he's not going to be pouting on it. He didn't tweet about it. Like, he's just going to get back into the lab. And what was like really interesting is that I saw our guy Hunter Patterson. He actually tweeted that Rod's never had a shooting coach before, and like when I saw that, I'm thinking like all the downhill scoring, because I think it was like a Brett Usher tweet about just posting Ron with all his downhill. Like, to me, that's absolutely scary. He's never had a coach that actually work with him on his shot, because he's got a really good looking jump shot for never having a shooting coach. Like, that's, to me, like, if I'm an opposing, team scouting, like, oh, this kid's never had a shooting coach, and he's got the best shooting coach, one of the best shooting coach in Fred Vincent to learn from. Like, I don't think he should be too upset with not making an all rookie team, because like, I look at some of these guys, I think if Ryan hits his ceiling and he becomes a two-way player, I think he's one of the better players out of his draft class.
No question about it. And he's definitely taking a lot of pride in that. I mean, I know we asked him about it during media day, and he was very motivated by people saying, oh, it's such a weak class, it's not a lot of star-studded names, and he took that kind of personal. So that's a lot of the motivation he's got, on his name, and based on how he plays, like, you can just tell he wants to be great. I think the Fred Vincent pairing with him is going to be fantastic. Again, it's people, you can see a lot of, again, it wasn't a lot of consistency with the scoring, but just those brief flashes, and even what you said, like, great, you take away the numbers and the efficiency, the shot itself doesn't look broken. Like, when you look at Ausar, his shot needs a lot of work still. Like, a lot of other guys who look around the league, their shots need work. Ben Simmons, like, guys like that, you can tell they just need to go from ground zero and rebuild it back up. That's not the case for Ron. I think Ron just needs to get that consistency there. He needs to find a matter of, consistent reps, which was a little, difficult for him playing with Malik Beasley and a lot of other, high volume shooting guys around him. He's not going to be in that position next season, I don't believe. I think he's going to have more of an opportunity to kind of shine and flash as a scorer as well as a defender. And I think it's going to come together, especially with an offseason with Fred Vincent and working with the team as well to get more of that defined role for himself in his game.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I'm him, I don't know, because I know some players actually like admit they watch my podcast, which is actually kind of cool.
Hey.
I'm not even gonna lie. But, like, I don't have Sean's soundboard. Happy birthday, Sean. I wish I had Sean's soundboard, man. Like, sometimes. But if I'm him, I'm not sweating over it. Like, because I think he's got so many physical tools. He's gifted. Some of the layups he makes, man, I'm like, dude, what the hell? I see why Pistons fans are calling him LeBron Holland, because it's some of the stuff he does. I'm like, bro, like, just some of his layups, like his layup packages are like kind of like insane for a rookie.
I also want to see him in the dunk contest. I remember, I forgot what game it was, but somebody tweeted me asking for a Ron Holland video during pregame, and he threw it off the glass. I think he put it between his legs and threw it down. I'm like, oh, whoa, that was a little interesting. So I don't know. Ron has a lot of impressive athleticism to him. If you put some more, muscle on him as well, he's going to turn a lot of heads. And I think he will be a pretty surprising name to watch in the dunk contest, especially considering how bad it is anyway. So yeah, Ron's got a lot of ceiling up to him, man. I tweeted it the other day. I feel like he can change a lot of the trajectory for this team. I mean, obviously they're not far away based on what the Eastern Conference looks like, but a couple of improvements and tweaks to his game, he can really change a lot of what they do over the next few years.
Oh, I 100% agree. Yeah, we can't have Mac McClung going for a 4P.
Bruh. Never again. I'm sick of these industry plans, bro. And he's at the top of the list. No more. No more.
I think we could make a graphic of all your industry plants, and people be like, dude, why does he hate Derek White?
I'm going to make a whole March Madness bracket of him. I promise you. Derek White will be number one of them all. Don't even worry about it. Spoiler alert.
People know. We're going to kind of get into all defensive teams. Now, I think where the Pistons kind of got screwed in this, we'll start with Ausar. He didn't play enough games. He didn't play 65 games. His brother made first team all defensive team. I think if Ausar was able to play the 65 games, I would have him on my second team. I don't know about you.
No, I'm 100% with you. It sucked to see him kind of be held back with the blood clots. But after a while, I mean, really defensively, he kind of snapped back into it pretty quickly. It was offensively, it kind of took some time for him to get his rhythm back together. But in terms of the defense, I think he's a better defender than his brother. We saw Cade Cunningham cook him when the Pistons played at Houston in the wintertime of the season. And really outside of the Jalen Brunson game, which a lot of the scoring against him was predicated on getting him into foul trouble and maybe that last shot that he hit, there's not one game where you can look at it and just say, oh my God, Ausar just really, I didn't see it like a welcome to the NBA type of moment up until that Brunson shot happened for Ausar defensively. Like I can't think of one offensive player that really just put him through the ringer for a whole game. I really don't remember that. And that's objectively speaking. So again, I think he's a better defender than his brother. I think if he would have had that 65 game stamp, he definitely would have made second team at least. But he definitely has some more coming in his future as long as he stays healthy, because that upside for him as a defender is out of this world. As a rebounder, on ball, off ball, like Ausar is the whole package in terms of defense for the Pistons.
Yeah, a big reason why the Pistons jumped in that top 10 threshold of, being a good defensive team is because of Ausar Thompson and Isaiah Stewart,
yes.
in my opinion. Like those two defensively are the team's two best defenders. Now, Isaiah Stewart, I just want to say this. That man got hosed.
Yep.
So he played over 65 games. He met that criteria. This is where Isaiah Stewart got hosed on all defensive team. You have to play at least 20 minutes per game. Isaiah averaged on the season 19.9. So he missed it by 0.1 to even be eligible to get voted for. And I'm looking at the second team, like nothing against Zubac, but I think if Isaiah Stewart played at least 20 minutes, he gets that second team nod. Or at least be eligible to vote. I saw somebody, I don't know who did it. Someone voted Jalen Duren. They gave him a second place vote for all defensive, and Pistons fans like, okay, who did it? Who did it? But I mean, obviously, I feel bad for Stu. I know that was a goal of his to, make an all defensive team. But maybe next year, maybe JB will, play him that 20 minutes a game so he could be in those conversations of making all defensive. But like, such a weird rule. Like, what are you kind of takes on just like him missing it by 0.1 of minutes played of not being eligible to get it?
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that if it was a name that maybe the NBA was like fond of and like enjoy, like let's say, great, if Wemby is a different kind of name, but if it was somebody that they liked that was a role player and didn't have the reputation that Stu had, even though I don't think it's warranted in the way that it is, I feel like they would take a look at that 19.9 and say, we can round that up, looking at his rim protection, look at the way he's guarded guards on the perimeter, look at the, impact that it's brought to his team's defensive abilities and their ratings as well. It's common sense. I don't understand how you leave Beef Stew off of that list. Oh, I do, because people don't pay attention to the team. That's why. That's literally what this feels like it comes down to. Again, if it was an 18-minute thing, okay, fine, I get it. 19.9 seems like you can round that off. We all took elementary math, and everybody still to this day rounds off percents like it's nobody else's business. I don't understand the logic behind that. But again, it's so many things that's broken with the NBA in their awards, their all-star voting. Like we'll get into it more, but yeah, I don't understand that at all for Stu. I definitely felt bad for him with that, with talking about how he wanted to be looked at as the best defensive player in the league and how we pride on defense. Like, you don't hear a lot of teams and see a lot of teams truly pride themselves on defense by contesting every shot, not being scared to get dunked on, fighting through screens, like little things like that bring that kind of energy back to the NBA. And Beef Stew embodied a lot of that, and he absolutely got played and not getting elected into the defensive team.
Yeah, it's just like you look at his defensive metrics, you look at his contest. I mean, he's top up there. I think Victor Wembanyama's like number one, Stu's two, and this kind of shows you like Stu's not 7'4", he's 6'8",
right?
And like the fact that like throughout the year, like JB really relied on him to protect the rim, and he did such a good job. Like a lot of people, will point to like his stats. He didn't score a lot, but defensively, like the team was better with him out there. And I hope he does get the opportunity to, make one of these defensive teams, put his hat in, possibly a defensive player of the year, but I think he's going to have to play more than 20 minutes a game. I know Ausar as well. Ausar said he wants to win defensive player of the year, but it's going to be, pretty tough with Wemby coming back healthy. I mean, the guy's already playing soccer. I was just like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, what kind of blood clots you got? Like, you're already out there, like, playing soccer? Like, what the hell, man?
He's superhuman out here for sure. And yeah, even with Duren, I mean, as a starting, big for the team, we get that best suits the Pistons. So we're probably not going to see a whole lot of lineups unless it's due to injury of Beef Stew starting. But again, if the production is there, if the impact is there, they should be able to make an objective call and say, hey, you know what? This guy truly deserves it. But again, it's just one of the many broken components of the NBA voting system that really needs to be looked at like immediately.
Yeah, it does. I mean, a guy like Alex Caruso, he didn't make it because he didn't play enough minutes, and he's one of the. You're watching the playoffs outside of last night because the Wolves, holy, felt that ass, man. I don't know if you've been watching the playoffs, man. Like it's they've been entertaining to say the least, but I did not expect OKC to get a sweep, but I didn't expect them to get their ass beat that bad.
Yeah, you said it's been entertaining. I'm having a hard time keeping up with, at least not for the Pacers. Knicks has been fantastic. The Thunder Timberwolves has been very weird with these blowouts. The back and forth. I mean, I don't care about Shai Gilgeous' MVP. He's unwatchable to me in a lot of spots, and the defense, it just comes and goes with these two teams. Like it's very hard to keep up with for me. But it is what it is. I don't know. That's what they wanted, so this is where we are now, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Pacers Knicks, entertaining.
Yeah.
Western Conference Finals, I would say it's entertaining from a timeline standpoint because you see a lot of OKC enjoyers, we'll call them, fans defend SGA and just like the way he gets to the free throw line.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind if he's actually getting fouled and he's getting to the free throw line like 10 times a game.
Right.
I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's like I put him in a tier with like Trae Young and Jalen Brunson, where like they manipulate the rules and then it's just it's a bad product for the NBA. Like I don't need you like just like flopping your body into someone's arm. Like Jalen Brunson like saw Aaron Nesmith's hand and like made him like punch him in the face. He like grabbed his hand and like punched him. I was like, dude, what are we doing?
Bro, I had to sit here like I commented on it because I saw what's the Sixers rookie name that paints his fingernails? It's slipping my mind right now.
Oh, Jared McCain.
Yeah, McClain. He's sitting there. He's talking about on a podcast, and someone's asking him, "Oh, do you think it's smart or is it foul baiting?" He's like, "Oh, it's smart because I talked to Embiid about it. He said they're gonna have to make a call and make it what? Like, no, they don't have to make a call of you acting. If you just play basketball, you can have a watchable product and you can try to win games because that foul baiting doesn't always equate to wins. Like James Harden been doing it a good chunk of his career, and he ain't got no rings. He does the same thing where he used to hook guys' arms and then throw his arms up for a shot. Like, and then I've got to sit here and listen to people say that SGA is the closest thing we've had to Kobe. Like, Kobe never did nothing like that. Now, Kobe did a lot of up fakes and got the defender off his feet and then jump into him to get a foul. That's not the same thing. Like, to me, my definition of foul baiting is an unnatural act to fake or exaggerate contact. If you get somebody up in the air and they land in your landing space and you jump up and get a foul, that's not foul baiting to me. That's just smart basketball. Flopping and grabbing someone's arm, whipping your head back and all that, like, that's not basketball. That's just acting and manipulating the whistle, like you just said. People in my Instagram comments for 3 days talking about this. Oh, you don't know ball. They don't care what you think. They're doing anything they can to win. I'm like, all right, if that's the case, don't watch basketball then. Just look at the box score and don't watch the game. So if you don't care about the watchability of it, don't talk to me about it. Just look at the box score, look at the numbers, and move on with your day. Don't talk to me about this conversation here, because it's about watchability, which Adam Silver cares about. I ain't trying to hear. Oh, bro, I'm so sick of it, I swear.
Only way you could really like screw with the players is make a new rule and give an official the ability to give a player a technical foul for overselling a call.
Yes.
Because you're not going to keep doing that if it's $2,000 every technical.
Facts. And y'all want to call 100 techs anyway, so good reason to do it here.
Might as well. Like you got someone like this, like flailing their arms or like jump or like just like overselling contact. Like Embiid is probably the worst accuser out of the bigs that do it. Like I've never seen a 300-pounder act like Magic Carp. Like I've never seen it, man. Like he's flopping like he needs some water. Like it's honestly crazy. I know we kind of rambled on with the playoffs a little bit. We got the Pacers actually playing in about 20 minutes. I'm hoping it's asleep. I don't know about you.
Yeah, me too. I don't like either team, but I said the Pacers were dangerous, and they're showing it right now. Coming back from 15-point deficits, weathering off storms. Halliburton put a miracle shot after miracle shot. They're dangerous. The Pacers are something to be reckoned with, and everyone keeps talking about the trades and the effects of Paul George, of how trade Paul George and how they in this position now. So it's been pretty interesting storylines to go with it. But yeah, Pacers are no joke.
It's just Sixers fans celebrating. I'm like, yeah, I don't think you guys are gonna get a haul. He's 35.
Yeah, nah, that's a wrap. It's not gonna happen.
So with the all NBA teams, and this is probably going to be the most, I would say, entertaining part of the podcast, because we actually had a subscriber of mine say, I need Eric on for the all NBA Cade Cunningham segment because I know he's going to snap. So we're going to get into third team. So you had Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Williams. Second team, Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Evan Mobley. Eric, was Cade properly rated with these all NBA teams, or do you feel like he should have had at least a conversation of possibly making second team?
This is idiotic. This is completely idiotic. I don't understand the level of consistency with the voters, or the lack of consistency, I should say, because in any metric you want to look at outside of, I guess, 3-point shooting, in what world did Steph Curry have a better season than Cade Cunningham? In what world did Jalen Brunson have a better regular season than Cade Cunningham? Because people want to pop up now and say, oh, well, look at what they did in the playoffs. It's not a playoff determination. It's regular season. And I don't want to look at it and say, oh, well, at least Cade made a team, because that's what a lot of people are saying in my comments now. It feels like when your little brother wants to play, like you're playing video games with your homeboy, and then your little brother comes in the room and he wants to play too, but you don't want to play with him. So you give him the unplugged controller to make it seem like he's a part of the game. And so like he's a part of it. Oh, here, take it. You're with us, whatever. That's what this feels like. I don't understand this in any way, shape, or form. You could make an argument that Steph shouldn't even have been an all-star by the time the all-star voting was done. And of course, he's a starter based on reputation. That's what this feels like as well. Steph was not, top 20 in scoring until like the end of the season got there. Cade finished the season 8th with 26 a game. He was a top 3 or top 4 assist man with playmaking, one of the best rebounding guards in basketball, one of the best defending guards, of all franchise players around him. And if a lot of voters have heard this argument for weeks now in terms of Nikola Jokic, in terms of how he does more with less. Oh, he doesn't have this other star. Jamal Murray's not playing up to snuff. He has to deal with Westbrook, and he's still averaging a triple-double. Like, that's cool, and I respect all of that. Why is that same argument not applicable to Cade Cunningham? How does that not have the same kind of emphasis for Cade? He's the bigger example of winning more or producing more with less. Losing Jaden Ivey, no other all-stars around him, a new coach, a new front office. The veterans they brought in were cast-offs that people were laughing at before the season started. And Cade put up all-star NBA numbers, MVP caliber numbers. And don't tell me either, oh, well, if he just won more, then maybe it would matter. Voters pick and choose when winning is the most important thing or an applicable thing. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't have given Jokic MVP in 2021, 2022 as a 6th seed with 48 wins. You wouldn't have done that. We saw LeBron win Rookie of the Year, his rookie year, over Melo, who took his team to the playoffs and averaged more points than him. And those are just two like shiny examples. I could pull up 3, 5, 10 more if I really wanted to. You just look at the basic raw numbers. You could say Cade had a legitimate example or an argument to be first team All-NBA over Donovan Mitchell, because Mitchell was like top 5, top 10 in scoring for a minute, and then he plummeted down after a while. Like, yeah. I don't get it, man. It always seems like the Pistons and Cade have to overdo their work to prove why they deserve awards. JB Bickerstaff the same way, Beef Stew the same way, and now Cade in the same example here with All-NBA team, most improved, which to an extent I understand why. But yeah. This is just abysmal. I don't agree with this at all. I think this is an absolute joke.
So I saw a lot of things from people that are respective why Cade got third team versus second team. And two things came up. Legacy, which if that's the criteria for voting, I understand. And two, another thing that people said is like, well, it's his first time making an All-NBA team. He should be happy that he even made a team in the first place.
No.
Which I don't agree with. Like, I think all NBA should be based off what you did for that individual season, not what you've done in previous seasons. Now, Steph Curry had a good season, but you look at his stats, I think they're kind of like, if we're talking about legacy, they're kind of like a dip down to his standards, because
yes,
I'm used to seeing Steph average anywhere from like 26 to 28 points a game. Now, granted, he's older. He's taking a step back. He's getting more injuries as he does get older. But I mean, shit, Eric, you could make a case for Cade Cunningham making first team over Donovan Mitchell. Like, yes. You could. You definitely could. Like, if you just put Cade stats versus Donovan Mitchell stats, and people say, well, Cavs won more games. They were the number 1 seed. That's why Donovan Mitchell was first team. Cade was a 6th seed, and he only won 44 games. It's just the pushback you get with like a lot of media members when you ask them, why did Cade get third team? Why did Steph Curry get second team? Why did Donovan Mitchell get first team? I don't agree with it, but I guess it's politics at the end of the day. And to your point, it seems like all these players, or even JB for that matter, coaches, they have to do so much just to get a consideration, when if it was maybe for another organization, they'd get it. They would just get that nod. I don't know what it is. I mean, a lot of people think, the Detroit versus everybody t-shirts are just a slogan. But I mean, like, you just look at how the Pistons got hosed in NBA awards, from, 6th man of the year to coach of the year to most improved to executive of the year, which, nothing against Sam Presti. I don't really think he did anything crazy. Like, the course still the same. All you really did is pay Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, outside of that, like, I mean, we could just keep going down the list of like everything. But I'll circle it back to the All-NBA thing. I think Cade did get robbed. I think he got hosed a little bit. The season he had, I thought it was incredible. I mean, I was looking at Blake's All-NBA season because he got third team as well.
Right.
And like, you look at Blake's stats and Cade's stats, Cade actually had a better season than Blake. And a lot of people, they cling on to that one season of Blake Griffin, best ball of his career. I mean, I look at Cade's numbers, I'm like, man, like, Cade have a better season than Blake Griffin? Like, is that the conversation we're having now? Because, like, I don't understand it, man.
Again, and I try to take myself out of it. I'm a fan and a beat reporter, of course, but I look at it from the player's point of view. I even saw Ashton, the trainer, tweet it after the most improved player thing happened, where like this is my biggest problem with it. The media and the voters can say Cade Cunningham is the 67th best player in the NBA. They could say that in an article, and then when Cade either proves them wrong or makes those improvements, he doesn't get to reap the benefits of it. He doesn't get to like get the crowning award of saying, nah, I'm better than you think, and I'm going to show you why. He was literally a top 10 player this year. And by the time the awards came around for most improved, and again, I get it. I'm not upset that Cade didn't win most improved just because I think it was, I just think they're losing the value and the definition of what the award is. However, based on how they've been giving it away, don't make Detroit the example of when you want to make things right. Because if you say I'm the 67th best player in the league, and then I show you that you're wrong, you should be able to come back and say, you know what? Dang, that guy actually is pretty, he liked that. Maybe we should give him what he's owed instead of coming back to, well, he is the number one overall pick. I mean, we can't really give it to a number one overall pick. Yes, you can. Because if Kwame Brown was horrible his first year and then averaged 20 and 10 the next, he would be well qualified to be the most improved player because of that improvement. And I just hate that the voters specifically don't get to, I guess, they're not put in a position where they have to correct the error of their ways. And the way you correct it is by giving him the awards that he's earned. It is just, like you said, it always seems like they have to go above and beyond to prove why it's not like, why it's not a shadow of a doubt for why he didn't deserve it. Again, Cade to be played like a top 10 player. I don't think there's anybody else in the league that had to deal with the circumstances that he had to deal with losing his second best player, not having the most polished or cohesive lineup or roster around him in terms of stability, no other all-stars around him. Like, I would love to see what Jalen Brunson would do with this team if he didn't have Karl Anthony Towns and two other stars next to him as well. Like, I just don't think it will be the same thing. It's a lot of other situations and circumstances where you look at Cade and say, he is proving you guys wrong in an insurmountable fashion, and people are just ignoring it. And it really bothers me. I really wish the league had some kind of like panel that had to watch every team. Like, they had to log the games that they watch every year. You get a free league pass account, and we can track how many games you watch and who you watch. They should have a panel that is dedicated to watching every single team play so they can make these accurate calls. Because I'm not mad. I get it. Everybody can't watch every single game, every single team. I get that. But when it comes to things like these, you cheapen players' ability to stamp these kind of accolades for their legacy just because you weren't paying attention or just because the system is flawed. Like, it has to be better than this, man. I really feel bad for the players in these kind of moments. I really do.
I don't get how you finish top 7 in MVP, but then you get third team All NBA.
What are we talking about? Like, how does that happen?
Make it make sense. Like, how is he like top 7 in MVP voting, but we're like, nah, third team?
Come on, man. Like, I don't get it. There's so many things that are wrong with the NBA in terms of their awards, like the officiating and the All-Star game, and the league just acts so clueless, like they don't know how to fix it. Oh, maybe we need another tournament, or oh, maybe we need to add this and do this, bruh. The things that you guys can do to fix this kind of stuff is not that difficult. It's truly not. If Cade would have got second team All-NBA over Steph Curry, I don't think anybody would be rioting in the street saying, how could you? Like, the numbers scream that he was better this season. Even LeBron, like, I understand the positions and whatnot, but Cade and the Pistons beat the Lakers twice. Cade had better numbers. He wasn't in a situation where he was able to rely on Luka to carry him as the best player for certain stretches or AD in certain stretches. Cade had to be the guy night in, night out, especially after Ivy went down. And to say, here's third place, pal. Maybe next time when you add more to your reputation and earn the respect of the league, man, I ain't trying to hear that, bro. Do your job and pay attention to the games and decide these accordingly like you're supposed to. I'm not trying to hear that respect the league garbage.
Yeah, I get it. Ryan has a comment saying chips on their shoulder is a good thing, which I agree. I think when they see these awards and Cade looks at like who is above him, I guarantee you he's gonna go crazy this summer. Like he's gonna get in the lab, he's gonna get right, he's gonna get into shape, and have even more to prove. Like I can guarantee you he's got that 67 probably pinned in the locker room somewhere. He's probably gonna pin the third team All NBA as well, because Cade was in MVP discussions by NBA.com all season long. He was, I think the highest he was is like 6th at one point. If I'm him and the Pistons, I think Tom Gores said it like perfectly when he didn't win Most Improved. He was just like, well, you didn't win Most Improved. It's like, now it's MVP. Because right. I feel like you're that type of player where like you could get MVP votes, you can get MVP awards. And I agree with them. Obviously, not making, second team. I think we both agree he should have made it, but there are some implications with him making All NBA, which I did want to kind of discuss with you for a minute. So his contract goes from 224 over a 5-year period to 269. So he's going to be getting $45 million more, $9 million on average for the next couple of seasons. So like financially, like, do you think that the Pistons maybe try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe kind of accelerate what they're doing to try to maximize the window that they have with Cade with his new rookie Supermax?
I think it's possible. Again, he's definitely worthy of that bonus that he got. He's definitely earned that. But I have a problem with how they even handle the distribution of the money with that, because now with the money that Cade gets out of that takes away from the cap space that the Pistons have. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I feel like this is a thing that puts teams, I don't want to say because the Pistons are not a small market team, but middle market teams that are not celebrated like the Lakers or the Miami Heat or New York. Like, I feel like this is a problem that these kind of teams run into, where when they're, drafted players become who they were expected to be, it kind of cripples the team to an extent. I feel like if there was like maybe a halfway kind of distribution where half that money comes from the league, the other half comes from cap space, cool, I'm fine with that, because it doesn't put them in a position where, because like again, looking at their cap space, they go from 27 million where they had before Cade made it. Now they have around 19 million. So yeah. I feel like knowing that, it puts them in a more difficult position with the veterans that they're going to have to decide on bringing back, going after other guys, on the market or in trades and whatnot. Like, it just makes it that much harder. And I think the Pistons knew that. I think they understood that was going to be difficult. But again, I don't think that's something that they should have to be dealing with. I think that's something that the league should find a way to kind of wiggle around to keep, futuristic hopes alive for these kind of teams, to not only keep these players, but be able to add more and keep parity high in the NBA, instead of it just being the same 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are the ones winning every single year in and out. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the Pistons had an idea, but I don't know. I just think the league could be doing a much better job in terms of how they distribute that.
Yeah, I mean, those rookie maxes, same thing happened with Tyrese Halliburton. You sign that 224, you have incentives to, get up to that 270. Like, SGA has a chance to sign like a $300 million contract, like just absurd money. But I'm happy for Cade. He deserves that bag. And the way I look at it is the Pistons would never be able to sign a player of Cade Cunningham's stature in free agency.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. The money is the money. But the way I kind of look at his contract, going from a 25% max going up to a 30% max now because he hit those incentives, I think the Pistons are going to have to operate as an over the cap team. That way you can kind of afford to bring Malik Beasley back by using the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. You can go over the cap a little bit to re-sign a Dennis Schroeder because you do have his early bird rights, and you can kind of just finagle it that way. So I know they've talked about trying to run it back as much as possible because they really want to see what this group can do fully healthy. They obviously had an incredible season, without Jaden Ivey for 40 some odd games, and they still got to 44 wins and finished as a 6th seed. But did want to kind of touch on like the cap stuff. Pistons go from a projected 28 million to now 19 million. In a free agency class, it kind of sucks if you ask me. There's not like I see people talking about. We talked about it, I think, last time you were on. Like Bobby Portis, Naz Reid, they're on player options. Like, at the end of the day, like if those teams know that those players are leaving, then you get into sign and trade situations, and it's just like how much do you want to trade for said player? Like I saw an article today about Andre Drummond. 5 teams that might trade for Andre Drummond. The Pistons were one of them, and I'm like, I don't know if the Pistons would trade for Andre Drummond.
Yeah, at this point, I can't see them wanting to do that. They're in a position to where, they want to try to keep as much of the band together as possible. Even though Trajan didn't seem like he was opposed to, other options of what could happen. Like you said, hey, they might get other options from somebody else. Like there could be other teams that are throwing them more money and giving them different options, different stuff for their families that they want to think about. And I mean, obviously the Pistons are not like the sexiest destination, even after coming off a 44-win season. But I don't know. It just seems like it becomes that much more difficult now because of the situation with Cade's money. Again, it's not a bad problem to have, just because even if that's the case, you still have somebody to build around. And knowing that you were able to win as much as you did with guys next to him, complimenting him, like Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Malik Beasley, as long as the core guys are healthy, if you can just kind of fine tune a bit of those pieces around him, you don't need to jump out the window and try to put your name in there for Giannis or Devin Booker or those super huge number name guys. Like, it doesn't have to be those kind of guys that put you over the top, especially in the Eastern Conference that's changing right before our eyes. Like Boston is probably going to come down because of the JT injury. Cleveland could shake things up. We just saw I saw a report about them maybe wanting to explore Evan Mobley as their number 1 option. I mean, I think that's interesting, but again, we'll see what they end up doing. It's a lot of wiggle room for the Pistons to shoot up, and I don't think they have to do a whole lot to maybe push up in the East from where they were just at. So, it's a lot that goes with it, but again, I think the Pistons are still in a very advantageous position, fortunately.
Yeah, same here. Like, a lot of their guys are very young. They have 8 players on their roster that aren't even over the age of 25.
Right.
And if you think about that, like the strides that they made this season, they're truly remarkable. Like OKC is the outlier. They're the youngest team in the NBA, and they're in the Western Conference Finals right now. It's just like they do such a good job at drafting. Like the 2022 draft was probably their best draft. Getting Chet, Jalen Williams, and I can't think of the maybe Case and Wells. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I mean, they just everyone on their team, man, just absolutely phenomenal. I did want to talk to you about an article I was reading from Amari Sankofa because he caught up with Jalen Rose, and he had a very interesting quote from Jalen, and I think we could have a good discussion about it. So I'm going to read the quote for people that don't subscribe to the Free Press. If you don't, you should. It's really cheap. I think it's like $1 or $2 a month. But it says, quote, I'm just really proud to watch Cade take that leap. And what I mean by that is when you look across the league and you watch the playoffs right now in the Western Conference, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Anthony Edwards are shaping the league. Jalen Brunson is shaping the league. Tyrese Halliburton as well. Cade can now propel himself into that category and lead us the way he did this year. So when you kind of hear those comments from a former NBA player and Jalen Rose, do you think he has a point that Cade can kind of put himself in that same conversation as those elite guards that he just mentioned?
100%. I feel like now having some playoff experience under his belt, being battle tested in a tough 6-game series where the Pistons could have come out victorious if maybe just a couple things would have went a little different for him. Cade is 100% in those kind of conversations, especially in a league where they're looking for not just the new guard of who could be the next face of the league. They're also looking for who that new American MVP could be. Cade should be at the top of those kind of conversations. Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Paolo Banchero. Like, it's a lot of guys that could be that next face. And I don't think Cade is very far from, becoming one of those names that they discuss. Now, it will require them to actually pay attention and watch Pistons basketball, because if you were doing that already, you would probably be saying, damn, he actually is one of those guys. Like, again, Cade's not a guy where we're sitting here saying, that full potential could break out. Like, I think we saw a lot of it this past season, like going up to 26 a game, averaging 9 assists, with better spacing around him, with a new coach around him, still playing top level defense, especially on ball. Like, yeah, I think Cade is very capable of being looked at and revered as one of the best players in basketball, not just American-owned, not just point guards. I think he could be looked at as one of the best players in the NBA. He doesn't run away from the challenge. He's welcomed the struggle of being on a team that was rebuilding like the Pistons. And he even talked about it before. Like, we were talking about a chip on your shoulder coming into the season. He even said that. He's like, hey, everybody on this roster has a chip on their shoulder, whether it's me, or how I've been revered, the veterans, Jay Nivey coming off what he was going through, Jalen Duren off what he was going through. Like, we all are hungry to prove something and earn the respect of the league. And again, if there's anybody that's capable of doing that and changing that, I think it's Cade. Shout out to JB Bickerstaff, who was just on ESPN over the past few days, who was giving him a lot of pub, even though they didn't want to talk about the Pistons at all, but he made a point to do so. Cade should 100% be one of those big names, as one of those future faces of the NBA that should be discussed.
Bro, JB, man, like the first day he was like kind of on his best behavior. If you guys haven't watched it, bro, JB put Stephen A in a body bag. I was laughing so hard, man. Funny. He asked him about his top Knicks, like worst memories, and he's like, "Yeah, you should probably have way more since you're a Knicks fan." I was like, "Dog," and like that evil laugh, like that's just gonna be used for so many meme purposes. Like, I already know it, but gotta circling back to Jalen's comments. If you kind of think about it, like, Tyrese. I know Pistons fans that they really wanted him in the draft, but you look at it, like he's got a Pascal Siakam. Like Anthony Edwards has like a Julius Randle, for what it's worth. Julius Randle's been up and down in his career, but he's played really, really well in the playoffs. You kind of look at all those players that he's mentioned, like they have, second tier options that could like really take that load off of their score. Mm-hmm. Now this season, obviously, adding a Tobias, Malik, and Tim made Cade's life a hell of a lot easier. But I keep hearing Pistons fans saying, like, where's our Siakam move? When is Cade and they get that Siakam? And to me, like, the way I hear those comments, I'm like, man, like, what happens when Cade gets an all-star next to him? I mean, see what he's doing with, high-level role players like a Malik Beasley, a savvy veteran, and Tobias Harris that did really well this season, especially defensively. I think Cade can be in those same conversations. I think he can be those elite guards like we were just talking about earlier this season. Like, he's second best point guard in the East, if not the best point guard in the East. Like, I've seen people put Cade as a top 5 point guard. Like Kendrick Perkins has him as a top 5 point guard already at 23 years old. Mm-hmm. So I think the future is incredibly bright for Cade. I don't even think he scratched the surface. I think there's still another gear for him to develop. And people think he's a finished product. I don't think he's a finished product. I think he can get better with his handle. I think he can develop. We talked about last time you were on is like working with Carmelo Anthony and working on his post moves. Getting that 3-point percentage a little bit closer to 40%, because I know he's more than capable of shooting the basketball at a high clip. So it gets me excited to know that you got a guy locked up for the next 5 years at 23 years old, and sky's the limit for him in terms of development. And hopefully this team and this organization can try to get him some help like Jalen Brunson has. I mean, look at all the help Jalen Brunson has to look around them, like Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. Like, what happens if you kind of switch Cade Cunningham with Jalen Brunson? Like, how far does that team go? Like, it's honestly like really crazy and fun to think about. But hopefully Trajan and company can get Cade and this team, securely in, Eastern Conference Finals, like what we're watching right now.
Yeah, he's talked a lot about, not a lot, but he's talked about if they were going to make any of those kind of moves, it would have to be some kind of splash via the trade market, because obviously right now the Pistons still aren't, one of those top tier destinations for, free agents to come compliment a guy like Cade, even though his skill set is unbelievable at a superstar level. But yeah, I think about it all the time, even with Jaden Ivey. Like, I love Ivey's game. I think he can still be that complimentary number 2, number 3 guy next to Cade to kind of take a lot of that pressure off of him. But I still think they just need one more guy to kind of just push it over the edge and really put them in that kind of dangerous conversation. And it's a lot of names. Like you said, everybody's looking at who that Siakam could be or who his Karl-Anthony Towns could be. Or, I mean, even for Giannis bringing in Dame Lillard in Milwaukee. It's not going to be easy. They do need to try to find that guy, whoever it is. However they have to bring him in is going to be the a emotional conversation, because we're going to see a lot of people get upset about some names that could be in some conversations. But if you want to capitalize on Cade's window, you got to make it happen. Again, you don't want him. I don't want to see him playing like heliocentric Luka ball, for the next 3, 4, 5 years of his career. I just don't want to see that. And like, I even saw a lot of fans talking about him getting tired and wearing down. Like, someone said, "Oh, he needs another trainer to help him out." Like, you don't need a trainer; he just needs some help. Like, if you have Ivy around him, he doesn't have to dribble the ball, and try to set up everybody for a shot. Maybe someone sets him up for a shot. Maybe he can take a play or two off and let somebody else kind of help him out a little bit. But we just haven't seen, that, and we haven't seen enough of the dynamic creation in that offense for the Pistons. There's a lot of scoring there. Again, Tobias did a really good job of getting his shot together. Tim Hardaway was, coming and going in some areas. Beasley was really good, but you need one more creator to kind of really put them over that edge and unlock the true potential of what Cade is truly capable of. And I think that's going to be, the most important thing that they're trying to find over these next several years, because again, you want to keep the band together. You want to, see what you have in the young guys. I'm all for that, because I'm very high on what this core can bring. I don't feel like this core is repetitive at all in terms of what they bring, which is why it's okay to let them figure it out for right now. But if they figure out who that guy could be, again, we don't know who it is yet at this point. Somebody's got to be disgruntled. Somebody's got to ask out. But again, it's very interesting, especially knowing the kind of player that Cade Cunningham is. It's not like a guy like Luka, where I feel like he can only play with so many other kind of guys. Like, Cade's game is adaptable to anybody in the NBA. So I feel like they're going to have an array of options of who they can bring in. It's just who you have to get rid of to make that happen. And that's going to be an interesting talking point for the next few seasons.
Oh yeah, I already see Pistons fans, firing up the old trade machine of, trying to like trade half your roster for like a Devin Booker or like a Zion. I know Mathis in the chat said, "What about Jaren Jackson Jr.?"
No,
I mean, I think your head is in the right spot when you talk about the archetype.
Yeah,
I think that's what Trajan's looking for.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's on the price point that the organization would be comfortable with, because let's just play hypothetical. Because, Matt has asked about, Jaren Jackson Jr. Mm-hmm. My only thing with Triple J is he's in a very expensive deal. Obviously, he's not going to get paid as much because he didn't hit his incentives. But my only thing is, you'd be in the same situation that the Memphis Grizzlies are currently in right now.
Right.
Like, you're putting yourself in the apron to bring in a guy that can hit threes. He rebounds when he feels like it, which why I don't really like the Jaren Jackson Jr. name. I'm sure you see it all the time, especially offseason scrolling the timeline. Like,
yep.
I think the idea of him sounds better on paper than what it actually would be. Because you're probably going to have to give up multiple first. You're probably going to have to give up, guys that you may not want to give up. Because I'm telling you right now, they probably asked for Ausar as the first person they probably asked for. Maybe Stu, maybe Duran.
Right.
Multiple first. I think the price point for Jaren Jackson Jr. will be a little bit too steep for what the Pistons want to do. It might not happen this season or this offseason. It might be, next summer where Trajan has a better idea of like what this team currently is, because I think he just needs a little bit more time to see what he has. And he kind of got cut short with Jaden Ivey. He doesn't really know what he has in Jaden Ivey. Just the way I looked at this season, for the Pistons was evaluation. And he even mentioned, like, I got to evaluate more because I really don't know what I have. And I don't think he wants to trade someone away. And it comes back to bite him in the ass. Like like his comments with his oppressor that you were there for, like, that's the way I took it. Like, when there's a move to be made for me to get an all-star or a star next to Cade, we'll make those moves. It's probably going to be in the trade market because free agency is really hard to land those stars. But like, I think Jaren Jackson Jr., I like the idea of it. I think your head is in the right place with the archetype stretch four. They could rebound and protect the paint a little bit, but I just think the price for it is a little bit too high for my liking.
Yeah, that's the part that's really bothering me. His rebounding is just really confusing for the big that he is. He's still dealing with a lot of foul trouble too, which is kind of crazy at his level. Like, he's not like Jalen Duren, who's in his second, third year, still trying to figure things out. Like, you're an all-star now, buddy. You shouldn't still, like Draymond talked about it in the game they played against him last in the regular season. Like, he shouldn't still be dealing with foul trouble and like some of those rookie issues that he's dealing with. Now I think the bright side to maybe bring in somebody like him is the coaching that can unlock that, because we just saw JB unlock the best defensive season in Tobias Harris's career. And he's never been known as some lockdown defender or even like as a, over reliable defender as a, in his career. But I think the right coaching, the right culture around you can kind of make that change. But again, the fouling and some of the inconsistencies do bother me a little bit. And you're trying to find, the consistent pieces to change all of that. And again, the archetype makes sense. The name makes sense. Obviously, MSU guy, but I don't know. I just feel like you can get a little bit, almost like you can get a little, because we don't know what they can get. But I just feel like there's a better name out there, maybe, or maybe you just need to take a little bit more time to figure it out before rushing for that specific name just because it fits the archetype. Like, for right now, again, people are going to want to crash out for the all-star. I think they could just still maybe just reach for a couple guys that aren't maybe all-star level, but still fill in that need of that area, that stretch four. Like if Sacramento says they want to blow it up and Keegan Murray is on the block, that's a number one name I would love. Like, I think guys like that will make a lot more sense. Jabari, maybe that he doesn't, see eye to eye with what Houston is doing anymore. Maybe you can take a flyer on him. I feel like people don't like the idea of reclamation projects. Sean Murphy, I heard y'all talk about it last episode, but I feel like these reclamation projects that have been brought up aren't as damaged or limited as guys like Marvin Bagley and James Wiseman were. Like, Wiseman couldn't shoot. Wiseman didn't have the best footwork, bad defender. Bagley, basically the same thing. Jabari Smith doesn't really have that same kind of style to his game. I feel like you can still round out a little bit more of that without relying on him as being like your number two guy. If he's your number 3 or 4, as Cade and Ivy are playing at an all-star level, you can work with that. And then have Beasley coming off the bench averaging 16, 17 a game. There's a style where that works, and you like make that sufficient for him. But yeah, I don't think they're in a position where they need to just dive out for a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. just because you made the playoffs. I still think they can kind of reach around, in the bargain area and, see what Cade can bring out of those guys. I think that's the beauty of them being so young and in the position that they're in right now based on the franchise timeline.
Yeah, I mentioned like last week, I mentioned Bol, which I got a lot of pushback on it, which I understand. I mentioned Chris Boucher, which I don't think a lot of people realize. Like, he actually had a really good season shooting from three, shot like 36, 37% from three. That could be a really low, like a buy low option. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I did a collaboration post with NBA Trade Center of kind of like outlining like what a dream offseason would be. I did a mock trade with the Utah Jazz to get John Collins. Like, I know the Pistons organization, I mean, they've been trying to get John Collins since the Andre Drummond days.
Yeah.
he's on an expiring deal. Who knows what Danny Ainge and Utah want for him, because they have Taylor Hendricks, who they drafted, who I thought would, do a little bit better. But I mean, John Collins kind of bounced back to reality. He had one of his better seasons with the Utah Jazz. John Collins would be a really fun, intriguing piece. You know, he's a lob threat. He can score in the post. He can score from the outside. Maybe you kind of look at that option. His contract is the only situation where you're kind of like, you'd have to either do a sign and trade or either trade one of the players on your roster that maybe you don't want to, because he's on a $27 million cap hit for the final year of his deal. But maybe that's a buy low option the Pistons look at. Like I think a John Collins and a Cade Cunningham and a Jalen Duren would be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all. I didn't love it when he was with Atlanta to an extent, just because I thought it was maybe a little bit more inconsistent. But the jump shot has kind of stayed there. He only played 40 games with Utah last season, but I mean, I like it. I like his upside, and I like his fit with this team. Again, I think with the buy-in on the defensive end, I think is going to come to reap the benefits with them being able to play in transition as well. Super athletic, he plays above the rim. I think he kind of fits that mold as well. And again, it's a quick term option as well, based on what you're looking for. You see where things go this year. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it's not going to kill you in terms of what you've given up. Like, he's not going to be a price point that's going to like destroy your roster, destroy your foundation. Might cost you a couple pieces, but I don't think it's going to be too much where I think people are going to be, over the moon about bringing him onto this team. I think he does fit. Again, I would like to see them try to find somebody that pushes Tobias Harris to that bench role, in the next year or two. And I'm not mad at that name at all. I definitely saw some of that pushback. Bol, I'm not even mad at either, just based on what their need is, based on how he plays on both ends of the floor. I'm not mad at it at all. Again, this isn't a time right now where they need to plunge for the star for the next 4 years or whatever it's going to be. Like, I just think they can find something cheap to kind of hold them over, for the short term while they're still figuring out who they are.
Yeah, I agree. I know Mr. Ray kind of pointed out that Trajan was like really when he was looking to go after guys, health is a big concern, which I think is a very valid point to bring up. Collins' health is the biggest concern. I agree there. I mean, like, we're just talking about trying to upgrade the power forward position where you're not just draining your assets completely. John Collins got traded for a second round pick to Utah, because the contract was atrocious. I don't think the trade I thought was an overpay, because I'm talking with this guy and he thinks that I had to throw in a first. I don't even think you have to throw in a first to get at John Collins. I think you could just do a sign and trade and try to get the salaries to match, and Utah would be happy to get rid of them because they're just kind of in a rebuilding phase, and they're going to get the 5th overall pick. Hate to see it. We've all been there, but you take it a little bit too hard, I think, for the NBA. But it's just off-season content. Like, I know how Pistons fans are. Like, I mean, you could go down every NBA team, and there's power forwards that I'd love. Like, I'd love a Jalen Johnson on this team. Probably not going to happen.
Oh, man. Yeah.
There's so many things. I have one more topic, and we kind of got off track a little bit, but hey, love it. I don't know if you saw this. Take this report with a grain of salt. So there was a report from the Hoops Wire that the Pistons have interest in Ty Jerome from Cleveland. Now, if you watch the playoffs, that man cost himself so much money. Let's just play hypothetical. Let's say Dennis Schroeder wants to leave. Do you think a Ty Jerome could be an option for the Pistons at backup point guard?
Maybe. I don't know how much damage control had to be done, because I think he was one of those names that wasn't super fond of JB Bickerstaff, if I'm not mistaken. I wouldn't love it. I do think they're going to have to address that, because, again, I'm not sure what the future holds with Marcus Sasser as their backup point. I think they can do a little bit better, and I just don't think his skill set kind of suits them best as their backup point guard, unfortunately. Jerome is okay. He's not a bad player. He could shoot. Obviously he's, familiar with the division and whatnot, and he didn't play great in the playoffs. I don't know. I wouldn't love it. And I feel like, unfortunately, these are the kind of names. very similar to the veterans we've been talking about, guys that kind of tanked off in the playoffs, but then have a rebirth with a team like the Pistons who are trying to establish themselves. These are unfortunately these kind of names and teams that get matched together. So I wouldn't love it until he proves otherwise. And I think that's kind of what happened with Tim Hardaway Jr. when he got let go for Quentin Grimes. So I think this will be a similar situation. I wouldn't really be jumping up and down for this. As like the improvement to say, oh, this is gonna really solidify that second year. Like I don't see that. But who knows? Maybe he proves things wrong. Maybe he gets on a hot heater and proves to be that shooter that the Pistons need or could use in their second lineup. But I don't know. I wasn't super high on it when I saw it. I kind of winced a little bit. It's like can we stop getting away from, like, again, I understand reclamation projects are broken toys, but I feel like at this point you can still find a little bit better than a guy like Ty Jerome. I think they can.
The only reason why I was looking at this report and I was like, Trajan said, like, takes two to tango, like, a lot in his presser. He's like, yeah, we like these guys, but like maybe they don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
That's where I'm like, maybe they're looking elsewhere. Maybe Tyus Jones is like, hey, I should have taken that money that you offered me last year. I mean, he's a free agent. Maybe that's the guy you look at. He had a miserable season in Phoenix, by the way.
Yeah.
But like, I can kind of see the archetype that Trajan kind of covets as like a backup point guard. He's looking for someone that can score and facilitate. Ty Jerome can do that. Me personally, give me TJ McConnell. The guy's a dog. Like, if he's available, like, I would love a TJ McConnell. But yeah, dude, he's been killing the Pistons since he was with Philly, man.
Yes.
Like, not even with the Pacers.
Yes.
It's funny.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind him at all. Like, that's a name I would like. Again, a steady, like, kind of veteran name. Again, that's why a guy like Schroeder was so important, because he came off of, having that pedigree of understanding what playoff basketball meant, how to stay organized and, bring out the best of everybody else. I don't really know if Ty Jerome is the kind of player where he uplifts everybody else around him. McConnell does that very well. He's really good at seeing the floor. A very pesky defender. He does a really good job of igniting runs for his team. He fits Indiana perfectly, and I don't know if they really would have let somebody like him go, but I feel like that's the perfect kind of archetype guy. Like him and Schroeder like kind of match the same kind of vibe in terms of a player that you would want off the bench as your backup point guard. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't see Ty Jerome being the name or the kind of player that fits what they need based on where they're at this point in their development.
Yeah, I think he resigns with Cleveland personally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like. I saw the report. I was like, I don't really know about that. Someone mentioned, like, remember when he bashed JB? There was like a press conference of him kind of just like throwing shade at JB. For whatever reason, I don't even know what the context of that quote was, but I mean, I was his former coach and he's kind of bashing him, but maybe he's a little salty. Who knows? Because he was injured when he was with JB Bickerstaff. So it's just a whole thing there. But like, if you do lose Dennis, you have. I think there are some options. I just don't think that the Pistons like really want to go down that rabbit hole with another, backup point guard, because it seemed like he fit like a glove, man. It seemed like he was playing with those guys for 10 years. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. He talked a lot about, the chemistry he had with Beasley. Obviously the admiration he had for Cade, playing really well in the fourth quarter lineups, closing games, being a big reason why they were able to develop comebacks. And I think a lot of that kind of rubbed off on Marcus Sasser too, when he started playing a little bit more towards the second half of the season. I think, he learned a lot of the game from him, soaked up a lot from him, which basically looked like it was just basically like, go play your game and be who you are. He talked about that a lot in some of his pressers. I forgot what game it was. You're like 25, I think in a starting role. And they asked about that. He's like, yeah, like, what have you been soaking up in this time? He said, yeah, I just learned to play my game and not overthink so much. And you could see a lot of that earlier this season, even going back to the summer league for Sasser, where he was kind of, struggling with playmaking and, getting guys in their right spots and understanding when to pass, understanding when to shoot. Like, when you have to think so much as a young guard, it can weigh in on you. And we saw a lot of that with Sasser's game. So, again, maybe he takes a jump and he can establish himself to be that guy. Again, I don't know if how they see him at this point. I do think there is value in his game. Maybe it may not be with the Pistons as his best suitability. But yeah, they got to find somebody that can help uplift everybody. And I don't know if like Sasser or Ty Jerome are those guys to do that right now.
Yeah, me either. I think Sasser's more of an off guard. I think me and you have kind of like agreed there in terms of like what to play him. Do you have time for a couple Q&A questions from people that are watching right now?
Absolutely. We in off-season mode. Let's do it.
Have you dove into the draft at all yet or no?
A little light. I haven't been too heavy with it. I've peeked around at a couple things of where the Pistons could be, but yeah, I haven't done too much, to be honest.
So I'll kind of just like take over this question though. If you haven't gone into the draft, I get it. Right now, who do you think the Pistons are picking in the second round? So I've been watching a lot of guys in the second round, and one guy that I keep watching over and over is a center out of Creighton. His name is Ryan Clackbrenner. He's 7'2", Eric. Good Lord. You should watch him because he's mocked to go in the second round, like really early second round. He's got some touch. He's just a big boy, man. Imagine having a 7'2" center as your third string center. Like,
I ain't mad at that. I've seen a lot of Danny Wolf suggestions from Michigan as him being, that backup big to kind of help out. I get it. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I understand we always kind of tie the local ties together, but I've seen this game and I think it could be suitable for what they need. I understand that.
Yeah, like the only thing with Danny that I kind of have pushback with it is like he's flashy, he's fun to watch, but like the turnovers concern me a little bit. And I think he's gonna go in the first round. If he falls in the second round, I guess you have to take him. But I've really liked Ryan. There's another center that I watched out of Stanford, but a lot of people are telling me he's going lottery. Maxi Renault, he's a 7-foot stretch 5 that, man, like they're lucky enough to trade up for him, man. Like he just gives me so much like when I say this, Kristaps Porzingis light. I'm not saying he's Kristaps Porzingis. He can block shots. He can stretch the floor. Being over, I'm just looking at these 7-foot players in the front court because like that's what they need. I mean, he wears 42. Maybe he's a fan of Kevin Love, just the way he's stretching the floor out there. But those are two guys that I looked at. I also looked at Chaz Lanier, who's maybe you could go for like a Tim Hardaway Jr. replacement. He's a shooting guard out of Tennessee, 6'5". But he'll be 24 by the time you draft him. Maybe they kind of look at, trying to get a guy that's played all 4 years in college. But I feel like they could get a really good player, but there's no guarantee he hits.
Yeah, they again, they're in a position where luckily they can kind of move however they choose with that pick. I feel like there's an opportunity maybe if they want to move up or move down. I feel like Trajan's going to keep his options open. I feel like luckily they're not a team like Washington that kind of got screwed over the lottery. They're just kind of shuffling around hoping that things kind of fall in their direction. Luckily, again, with so much conversation about the NBA lottery, 2021 couldn't have worked out better for this team because they were going to shake things up. It's like, okay, fine, let's change things up. And, they were still fumbling around trying to find their foundation piece to build around. Like, that would be very unfortunate for them because like a lot of teams could have used a guy like Dylan Harper, but now they don't have a chance to get him because of how things are shaked out. So, the Pistons fans, be very, very fortunate and lucky that you're not in this position where you have to sweat over where the draft is going to take you because a lot of teams right now are doing that, and it really sucks for them.
I do think for Pistons fans that still love the draft because there's that section of the fan base. It's just they love NBA draft. Yeah. Look at Brooklyn if you want to trade up. They have 3 first-round picks. They have a couple late-round picks. I mean, I'm looking at the Tankathon mock draft right now. The guy that I mentioned, Maxi and Renault, is mocked to them at 27. They got 26 as well. Danny Wolf is actually 23 on Tankathon's mock draft. Now, obviously, Tankathon's not the outlier. There's tons of guys out there that do NBA draft. But, I mean, I think you get some good quality. I know Trajan's comments about guys in the second round and NAL kind of made me think he's like, man, he's just gonna package that and trade it for a power forward or something. Like we could be like talking about, oh yeah, Trajan package 37 and Simone or Sasser, who knows, for a rotational player. I mean, got Wendell Moore basically for free, and Bobby
Right.
Clinton just trading up to 37, and they traded like the 50th pick. So I feel like you could get a low key guy on your roster, especially sitting at 37. And who knows, man? But I just can't get in the draft this year. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit, but again, this is a good situation to be in. Like, you not to sit have to worry about, oh, we got picked up for 5 again. What can we, hope and cross our fingers for that'll land in our direction? Like, the Pistons have a foundation set. It's just about how far they can take you at this point. So, again, this is a good position to be in to not be sweating when the draft shakes up.
Oh, my mistake, Mathis. They have 4 first-round picks. Holy crap. I misspoke. I kind of skimmed over it. So Brooklyn has 8, 19 from the Bucks, 26 from the Knicks, and 27 from the Rockets.
Sheesh.
Yeah, they got 4 firsts in a pretty good draft class. So I don't know, man. Who knows what to do? I feel like they're gonna trade at least 3 of those away because maybe they try to package some of those to get up into the top 3. Like I heard that they really like Dylan Harper. They're trying to get him from the Spurs, but knowing the Spurs are just going to take Dylan Harper and probably trade like a Stephon Castle. Like, if I'm being honest, like they don't need all those guards. Like, you got Chris Paul that's going to be a free agent, De'Aaron Fox. Like, Dylan Harper reminds me a lot of Cade. Like, when I watch him, like just his pace. And he even said, "Yeah, Cade's my favorite player." Like,
I love that. I love the respect he gets from the young guard. Like, he sings his praises all the time. There's a lot of guys who are talking about who are the most underrated players in the NBA. Cade's name got mentioned a lot. Yeah, he gets a lot of good love from a lot of the younger players. It's just NBA media who doesn't watch him, but it's all good. It's all good. We'll carry that mantle for you. Don't worry.
So Mr. Ray's got his list, which I'm probably gonna have to do my homework and like look up some of these guys. So he's got Rasheer Fleming, Carter Bryant, who I've watched a little bit, Drake Powell, Adu Thero, who's actually mocked to the Pistons from Tankathon, which he's literally like I'm watching him. He kind of reminds me of Ausar, but like he can't shoot really. He's got to work at it shooting. One of those like wings forwards that just needs to develop an offensive game. Trajan is looking at potential wing forwards. I mean, if you do look at Trajan's draft history, he's only really drafted 1 center, and it was Jackson Hayes, which was kind of a miss. But outside of that, he's had pretty good drafts. But I mean, I guess those are some names that Pistons fans should be kind of looking at for the NBA draft. But knowing them, they probably trade it. Like, we're just torturing ourselves watching all these second-round guys.
Right.
Ryan had a question earlier because we were talking about Ausar. And he wanted to know, do you think that he could become a threat shooting the basketball in his career?
I think he can. Now, if you're just, in terms of shooting, if you're saying 3-point, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be still a big work in progress. But we saw him a lot try to work on that jump shot in the mid-range, whether it's, that like little floater in the paint. He's worked on that a lot. I've watched him in practice. He takes a lot of time with Ron Holland, where they're working exclusively with Fred Vincent. Like, they have like different areas broken down on the Pistons practice for those who don't know. Like the guards, like Cade, Tim Hardaway Jr., Beasley, like they kind of warm up in one area. The bigs warm up on another area. And then there's another area, I think the wings are working. And then there's one area right next to the door where Fred Vincent is working. And he has 2 guys specifically that he's working with in these shooting. It's Ausar Thompson and Ron Holland. So I think with enough time, with enough coaching, with enough detail, I think it can happen. Again, I'm not one of those people that thinks the 3-point shot is a mandatory necessity that he needs to add immediately in order for his game to be unlocked. Like, again, if he just becomes a guy that, he's already a good passer, super athletic, super fast, like, I'll never stop thinking about that spin movie hit against the Knicks and getting to the rim, how quick that was. Just knowing he could do that, and the thought of him just adding maybe a mid-range game to go along with it, I think that unlocks so much. It doesn't have to necessarily be the 3-point game. Like, you don't have to play like the Celtics play, because if you do, you're going to lose a lot more the way they did. So do I think he can do it? Yeah, I think the resources are there. I think there's enough great passing on the team that'll get him some open looks. But yeah, I'm not going to look and say that it has to be the 3-point shot that's the shooting key to unlock his game. Can he be a shooter? Sure. I think the resources are there to make that happen.
I felt like a lot of times, maybe you can probably remember this. He passed up on a lot of 3-point shots. Like
Definitely.
he caught the ball, from the outside. He looked to just dribble, penetrate, and get an easy basket, whether that was from the mid range or layups or just tough contested acrobatic finishes, because he's just so athletic, and just like his first step and his bounce is insane. Like I don't understand it, but to answer your question, Ryan, I think he can. I would give Fred a solid maybe 2 off seasons for Ausar to like really develop, because I don't think him going into his first full off season he's automatically going to be like a 40% 3-point shooter.
Right.
If you kind of look at players with the New Orleans Pelicans, like Lonzo Ball's a good example. Like he had a couple of off seasons with Fred, and then he became a more of a consistent league average 3-point shooter. So I think him and Ron, it would be so crucial to have both of those guys hit open threes in the corners at the wing areas, because then you really can't like take any place off with those guys. But I'm hoping he does hit or not hit, but develop a 3-point shot, because if he can, man, you got like a baby Kawhi on your hands.
It's a race between him and his brother. Whoever can get that jump shot unlocked first, that's who everybody's going to stamp as the better Thompson twin. Like, it's still a lot of conversation about who it is now. But again, I think he's in a better position where he can be a little bit more patient with getting that shot together. Again, having Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey to kind of set up those looks for him. Even Duren, who's a really good passer in his own right. Like, I think you're going to find areas and moments where Ausar won't have to, like you said, pass up those open shots. He'll be able to be hopefully confident enough to take them and knock them down. Fred Vincent does a really good job of breaking down something. Like, I listen really close to a lot of the things that he says, and some of the details that he breaks down with this dude is really fantastic and unbelievable. Like, I love the way that Trajan was able to pry him from New Orleans. I think he's going to be huge in his development. But like you said, it could probably take maybe 2 seasons for it to get there. And again, there's enough scoring and offensive prowess where it doesn't have to be an immediate pressing need. Amen, I don't think has that same like limited flexibility, because they don't have that number 1 scoring guy yet, because Jalen Green still hasn't established himself as that yet. Cade is that guy. Like, Jaden Ivey shown he can be that number 2, so you don't need Ausar to be your number 3, 4, or even 5 scorer right now. So you can take that time. You have other veterans around him who can help him too. So I think we're going to see that leap, but it's probably going to take a little bit of time to get there.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a thing where it's just going to unlock like that in one off season. Give these guys 2 full off seasons to work with Fred. I think you'll see an uptick. I don't think they're going to be 20% 3-point shooters for a majority of their career. I think they can uptick it. If they can uptick from like 20 to like 30%, that's a huge success.
Yeah.
Ron wasn't afraid to shoot it. He was letting that shit fly. He didn't give it. He did not care, and I love that. I wish Ausar kind of had that same kind of mindset. It's like, I'm just gonna let this shit fly right now.
Then Rod, anytime we asked JB Bickerstaff about what we saw from Rod, the first thing he was saying, hey, he's fearless, and you want that from your guy. You don't want him to see him passing up stuff. And like I said, we always talk back to that Milwaukee game where he missed those free throws. I think that kind of unlocked that fearlessness in him. It's like, listen, bro, you're gonna need these kind of moments to become the player who you're gonna be. And he has, again, the skill is there, the athleticism is there, the mindset is there as well. Now it's just going to come down to mechanics. So, yeah, I think, again, those guys are really, really fortunate to be in the position that they're in, because their development is not, again, it can change a lot for the Pistons, but they're not requiring it right away for them to get to where they need to be. Like, we barely saw Ron in the playoffs. We saw Ausar sit in a lot of stretches during the playoffs where maybe he should have played, but there were areas where they were able to play with other people outside of those 2 guys. So their development is something that, again, they could use for sure, but it's not an immediate need as of right now. But it is going to be fun to watch them take those baby steps into the players that we all believe that they can be, which is pretty high of a ceiling for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely high on Ron and Ausar, so if they can develop any type of jump shot, I think it's just a bonus for the Pistons.
For sure.
So Shifcott had a question. I'm sure you read Tom Gore's letter like a lot of other people. And he had something in his letter and it says, quote, urgent winning move. So what did you think Gores meant by that? Do you think it's a more of a thing of like you guys won 44 games when the season starts, just have the foot on the gas? Or do you think it's more you could kind of read the tea leaves of maybe it's time to possibly put your chips on the table to upgrade a certain position?
I think Tom understands where the timeline is with this team.
Hmm.
Saying urgent winning, I think, is coming off of knowing that this team has been very, very, very bad over the past several seasons. And he also has emphasized, for the brief amount of time that we've heard from him and talked to him, because luckily we haven't had to hear a lot from him this season, which is a great sign. But him speaking about urgent winning, I don't really think necessarily means that we need to find, a healthy number of acquisitions to kind of take us somewhere that we're dying to be, because you just finally got to somewhere that you were dying to
Yeah.
be. Like you just get in the play in and say, okay, well, how can we get to the playoffs now? Like now at this point, like I don't think the Pistons are thinking of ECF next season. I think right now, win a playoff series. I think that is the next step that they're looking for in what their development is as a team. And I don't necessarily think a big splash or a crazy number of acquisitions is the transaction that they're looking forward to getting there. Again, I don't want to say they overachieved, because this is a good team that they had, and they surpassed the expectations that were presented to them before. Let's just say that. And knowing that, I feel like Tom is able to be a little bit more patient with that, and understanding that the urgent winning, again, it's kind of arriving. We even heard it from the other players and teams around the league. Brunson said they're not arriving, they're here. And I think we all kind of understand at this point. So I don't necessarily think this means that they're looking to try to do something crazy in terms of how they want to shake up the roster. I think they understand what's here, and I think they want to try to see what that is over the next couple seasons, probably.
Yeah, same here. Like anytime Tom Gore speaks, I think fans just have their eyes glued to whatever he says. And I get it because I remember, SVG era. He's like, we got to make a big move. We got to get that star. And he got Blake.
Yep.
So urgent winning, the way I look at it is he's gone through a period where they rebuilt and, they weren't winning a whole lot of games. This is the first season since 2015-16 where they had a winning record and they won 44 games. I think he understands that he can't make the same mistakes as he did, with Stan Van Gundy with Trajan. And I think Trajan probably talks to him every day, telling him what his plan is and how they're going to execute it, because he seems like a very calculated person just listening to him. Especially having a math major at Duke, he probably knows what everyone's making. Like honestly, like you can just tell he's just very calculated. When I read that letter, Shifcott, urgent winning to me just means he finishes the 6th seed. Can you get to a 4 seed?
Right.
That's the way I look at it. I don't look at it as urgent winning. Go get Zion. Go get Devin Booker.
Right.
Like, because that's what I saw this week. Listening to some shows here locally in Detroit, whether it's Woodward Sports or 97.1 The Ticket, like they kind of aggregated it like crazy, but that's what they do. They aggregate everything they see. And it's the nature of the business. I get it. You do a radio show 5 days a week. What are you going to talk about? Lions training camp, 365. Like you got to have something to talk about. The urgent winning, I really didn't view it as we're going to go get a star. It's just try to be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. But you know how those shows are, man. It's kind of crazy.
What you said is exactly important. Like, oh, how can we go get Zion? Or if Giannis is here, would you do this to bring? If you're like, nah, like you shouldn't feel like that's the necessity right now. Again, urgent winning, like you said, could just mean moving up a spot from where you were last season. Because again, none of them thought they were going to be in the 6th spot. I thought a lot of people kind of had a bit of the same expectations of around 30 wins and try to find a way to flirt with the play-in spot. Like, if that was where they ended up, I think everybody would be doing handstands right now about that. Like, knowing that they played as well as they did this season, even with losing in the dramatic fashion they did in the playoffs, LCA still left the arena with a standing ovation to the team saying, thank you, congratulations for what you did. So, yeah, urgent winning doesn't mean how can we get a ring here as soon as possible. Like, and even if that's the case, I don't think they're thinking we have to overhaul everything in order to make that happen. Like, he called Cade an MVP level player for a reason. If you were worried about urgent winning, you wouldn't be talking about that for a guy like Cade. Like, I don't know. I just feel like he would have a different mindset in approaching that, knowing the players that they have, knowing the talent that they have, knowing that the roles are that they fill, and knowing the impact of JB Bickerstaff, that what he's brought to the culture of this team, I think kind of rounds out what they're looking for right now. They want to establish a culture, establish a foundation. They did all that. All that has been solidified. I think now you start, I guess, the winning process, but I don't look at it as the urgent winning, even though that was like the trigger term for it. I don't know. I just didn't look at it the way that he said it when he said it.
Yeah, you know how some people are, and like those shows do not do, either of us any justice, because then we have to answer questions because like they're not really in the know, and that's fine. Like they have to cover all 4 sports. I don't really go to either of those stations for like my Detroit news. Honestly, no. I just go for podcasts that are like more experts on that individual topic. Like if I go for Red Wings news, I'm not listening to The Ticket. I'm listening to like Wing Wheel podcast because those guys are hilarious. Like if I'm listening for Lions stuff, there's so many Lions content creators that I would rather go to and listen to than those guys, because it's so negative. Okay, I see people talking about Kevin Durant, okay? And we're going to talk about this because people are very confused with KD. So Kevin Durant does have a hat that looks like a Detroit logo. I'm trying to see if I can put it. Okay, here we go. Let me get this. You guys, if you look closely, it does look like the English D, but it's not actually a Detroit logo. This is actually Kevin Durant's custom logo. It's not KD wearing the Detroit hat, because I see people saying, "Oh, Kevin Durant's wearing the Detroit hat." That's his actual like logo.
Woosah, guys, let's breathe a little bit. Again, you're in a good spot. Whatever Kevin Durant's hats are that he's wearing does not mean anything. That's not a guy that you would have rush and crash out for anyway. Like, just don't set yourself up for that. Please don't do it. Don't do it, guys.
He's the franchise killer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, ask Brooklyn, ask like ask the Suns. The Suns probably had better expectations of what he's given them over the past 2 seasons, right? Come on, you don't need it. You don't need it. And I love KD. I think he's fantastic, but yeah, you don't need it right now. You just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just because I've seen people talk about it. It does look like an English G. I will give you that. Like if you're just looking at it at first glance, like, oh, is that a Detroit hat? But no, I mean, he was wearing it on the bench when he wasn't playing with Devin Booker. I can't remember which game it was, but I mean, he wears that hat. Now, Devin Booker always wears old English G's, and people freak out every time they see it.
Right, and he's a Drake stan. Come on, we can do better than getting Drake's #1 pom wear in the NBA. We can do better than that, guys. Let's lift our expectations a little bit.
Yeah, they get that Drake, that little Drake this and there.
Oh God, the Owls in Detroit, I would lose my damn mind.
I'm telling you, man, you got to keep your Crocs safe. It's a crazy world out there, man.
Crocs are not safe in Detroit at all.
Yeah. The Pacers have some serious firepower. Their success might make Pontiac's own Isaiah Jackson expendable. Man, I remember watching him come up through high school. That kid's a dog.
Yeah, he's a really good player. They're they're probably the model that the Pistons want to follow, because they kind of have the same mindset. We're not the sexy team that everybody's picked to win. Like, they've exceeded a lot of their expectations too, and I think they're going to get to the finals. So knowing what their model is and knowing how they're set up, I think the Pistons kind of should look at them as their model of what they want to do for right now. But yeah, I like Isaiah Jackson a lot too. I think that's a really good player for real.
Yeah, they have so many players on their roster that it's just like I could see why they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. We do have a Drake comment. Keep the Owls out of Detroit. Leave them on the border of the six.
Thank you. Please stay the hell away from us. We don't need it. Not at all.
Honestly, man, like I'm trying to think someone got in a debate with me. What was the biggest NBA banger this year? Jello Ball's swerve in the corner, or Isaiah Stewart's big dog. I was like, bro, I said, I'll probably listen to the big dog because there's more than 3 lyrics in it.
That's true. That's very true. I don't know that swerve record was tough though. I swerve, man. And anytime Cade had on, he requested from the DJ a couple times in the pregame. So that awoke some spirits up to the team. So I don't know. I'll give it to Jello on that one.
I know. I can't remember. Someone posted. I can't remember which player it was. They posted on their Snapchat. It might have been Bees. And Tobias walks in. He's like, "Man, turn that trash off."
He's never beaten the Unk allegations. That's gonna stay on him forever.
But he likes G-Mac Cash, the Pistons one again. That's his song.
Right. The versatility of Tobias, I love it.
Jabari Smith is cheaper than Laurie.
Yes,
Wes. I feel like Jabari is way more gettable than Laurie. I don't know if Danny Ainge is going to give up a Laurie Markin. And then you kind of look at Laurie's contract. I'm just going to say it, Eric. I think it's one of the worst contracts in the NBA right now.
Definitely.
It's huge.
Definitely. Yeah.
It's huge. Like, if you were to trade for Laurie, like, that tells me you think you have a couple-year window of winning. And if it doesn't work, then you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Like, he makes sense, like, offensively, but he's not known for his defense. He's a poor rebounder for his size. Doesn't really protect the rim. Like, I like the idea of a stretch four and Laurie Markkinen, but the contract to me is just a little bit too much for my liking.
Yeah, like you keep emphasizing, like the idea of these guys, like in 2K, it makes all the sense of the world, but these are not the kind of guys you want to be like just deep diving for. Like, again, guys like Jabari, guys like maybe Cam Johnson, like if there's anybody that I would like blow everything up for, or maybe just like go wild for to bring someone in, it would be someone who, again, he's not an all-star, but his skill set makes most sense for what they're trying to do. Like, somebody like Trey Murphy is somebody that you would want to blow everything up for, not Laurie Markkinen. Like, Trey Murphy is phenomenal. He's shooting from the parking lot every time he's pulling up. You know, he has some defensive upside to him as well. I love that dude's game. But again, he's not even an all-star yet, you know, still operating under, you know, the young expectations of a young player. You know, when you bring in a guy like Laurie, you're expecting everything to change immediately. Like, you're expecting them to be contending for titles immediately, because like you're not bringing in Giannis or Booker or any of these guys in to just get to the second round. Like, nah, that's a failure if you do that for those kind of players. So just let's hold it and prepare for, like I said, those cheap bargain buy-ins for guys like maybe Jabari. Like, I don't know. I just feel like those are the more suitable pieces to kind of be looking at right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a thing. Like Mr. Ray says, I think Laurie's stock is down. His stock may be down, but Danny Ainge's asking price isn't. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, like I agree with you, Mr. Ray. His stock could be down because, like, I watched some Utah games just for the hell of it because there wasn't Pistons games on this year. I was like, where the hell's Laurie? He's not on the bench. Wasn't anywhere to be found. Like, did he go back to Finland? Like, what the hell's going on? Like, I don't see him. I liked them like as an idea for a stretch four, but Trey Murphy, that's the guy that I've been really, really high on. Really, really high on. I really like him.
He's so good.
Yeah. Sounds like the Pelicans are just going to be insane and try to build around Zion. So good luck, Joe. Good luck.
Right. Have fun, guys. Troy Weaver, have a blast.
Yeah, that's yeah. I don't even know what the Pelicans their goal is. Maybe the play-in this year. We'll do one more question. We'll wrap this up. Anthony and Eric, y'all being Pistons fans for the long time, what drew you to both being Pistons fans, and what have been the most exciting moments in being a Piston fan?
Okay, I like this. Yeah, man, I'm 35 years old again. I just had my birthday 4 days ago. I was born into it, man. You know, I'm from Michigan. And again, this isn't slander or shade to any of the guys on the beat. I love them. But a lot of guys that are on the beats for the teams that they report on don't really be from those areas, even on the Pistons, side. So for me, this is the team that I grew up loving, man. Like, I remember, like, my dad just put up a picture of me when I was like 2 years old in an Isaiah Thomas jersey for the Bad Boys days. Like, one of my first birthday presents I remember was Grant Hill's alternate red, blue, and white throwback jersey with the Pistons. I was born into it, man. I even have one of actually got it right here. Hold on, let me show you this real quick. I have one of the championship rings from the Bad Boys era from 1989. Like, I got it from my grandmother. Me and my brother were both born on 89 and 90 when the Bad Boys won. My grandmother was a huge Pistons fan. They kind of just passed down that love to us. I've just always been a fan, man. And to, finally be at this point as a beat reporter, it just makes it that much sweeter for real. Just coming up on that, being a part of the 04 run. I mean, I was in eighth grade at the time or sixth grade at the time in middle school. I went to the playoff games at the Palace, when they were having the Thunder Sticks at the Palace going crazy. I'll never forget those memories with my dad and my family, just, cherishing those times, man. This team, this fan base, this love for these Detroit sports teams, like it's all time different for real. And knowing that the love and the appreciation that the fans have for it just makes it so much sweeter. And again, I'm supposed to be a beat reporter. I'm a media member, but I am a fan as well. I'm always be objective, but I want to ride for the team that I've always supported, in my life as well. So my love for the Pistons runs deep for sure.
Yeah, mine is just like Detroit sports in general. Like, I remember being like 4 or 5, and the Red Wings were going to win their first cup in like 97 and like so many years, just watching those teams, and then like watching Grant Hill, not knowing how good he was. Towards the later part of his career, like, I fell in love with Grant Hill. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a Piston fan just because of him, because I thought everybody had a Grant Hill on their team. And as I got older, I soon realized there were some teams like the Charlotte Bobcats that just flat out sucked.
Yeah.
Like, growing up, like, there were teams that they just weren't that good. And then I fell in love with the Going to Work Pistons, much like everyone else. It's like around my age. Like, I'm 33. Like, they were going through their title run when I was in 6th grade. Everybody had a Ben Wallace jersey or a Chauncey Billups, or there's a couple people that had Tayshaun, wanted to be a little different. But I mean, I think that's what kind of drew me in, is just like watching good basketball, being spoiled with good basketball. And, after, the Davidsons sold the team, we had a couple of tough years. Then SVG, that was just a disaster. And then, kind of get back on track after we, let Troy Weaver go and bring Trajan in. It's kind of just been a full circle moment. Like, I was just reflecting on it like a couple of days ago. I was like, man, like, Pistons fans were really spoiled from like the Bad Boys to the Grant Hill era. Grant didn't win anything. They were still making the playoffs, to the Going to Work Pistons, making all those Eastern Conference finals and making 2 finals, winning 1 against the Lakers. So I'm proud to be a Piston fan. Like, that's why I do these, podcasts once a week. That's why I upload like a crazy man, like, so much, to the point where like I had someone comment, they're like, dude, do you sleep? Like, that's insane.
He doesn't. He does not. And I think, like, granted, the Detroit versus everybody mentality has kind of been stamped recently, but it's been a thing literally since the Bad Boys, because like, they weren't supposed to be who they were. Like, I remember loving Jordan when I was a kid, and then knowing how like intertwined the Pistons were in his development, and how the league didn't love them and the way that they played and how they writ them off so much, and then they still found ways to win. 04, the exact same thing. This team right now, the exact same thing. The league continues to write them off, but they still try to find ways to win and, have that chip on their shoulder to show that we belong. I mean, even back to my high school days, like, I played at North Farmington, where we were like a scrappy underdog team, and our motto was following what the Pistons did. Like, nobody believes in us. We're not supposed to be here. Let's go shock the world. Let's go try to beat St. Mary's. Let's go try to run down Harrison or all these other teams that people just glorify constantly, and that was our motivation constantly. So it is kind of cool to kind of be intertwined like with the team. Even if my job now as a beat reporter, like I'm new in the position and I'm still developing, and the Pistons are kind of in the same thing where they're kind of new and developing and they're winning, and we're all kind of on the same trajectory coming up together. So they kind of respect that and look at us in the same kind of mold. And I don't know, I just think it kind of makes it all that much sweeter in the process.
Yeah, I saw someone. I was on LinkedIn today and I was scrolling, and someone was just like, "Will the Pistons have a 30 for 30 season if they ever win a championship, going from like 14 wins to winning a championship?" And I was like, "Probably." Like that would be like such a good 30 for 30, going from 14 to like an NBA championship.
Absolutely.
Like, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, they would do it for any other team. Why not? The Pistons deserve it, man. I mean, coming from where they came from, all the slander that this team has taken to now be one of the, upstart and, turnaround teams in the league. That'll be an awesome 30 for 30, especially considering where they could go. I would love that.
Yeah, we need a new 30 for 30. I mean, I just watched the 2004 championship DVD the other day.
Yeah.
I don't even know why I watched it. I was like, I'll just watch it for like old times. And I was like, man, like, they were so good. It's insane.
Such a great era. I'll never forget that, man. Bringing in Sheed. I remember buying the lightning bolt throwback jersey, but with Chauncey's name on it. I still have it hung up right now. Like it's just so. I was a mid-range shooter, so I love watching Rip Hamilton. I remember. I'll never forget where I was at Hoop City Grill watching the Tayshaun block and watching everybody freak out thinking it was a goaltend when it wasn't. Like it's just so much golden nostalgia. If anybody was alive and can remember those times, you know how special that was, man. I'll never let that go.
Yeah, no, I've had some people on the podcast that were born after 2004, and they like ask them about it. They're like, "Yeah, I wasn't born." I was like, "Man, that sucks."
I'll be that Simpsons meme where the old man is sitting around the young people. I'll be that to tell them what that time was like, man. That was such a beautiful moment of basketball.
69 to 67 final scores.
Oh my god! Oh, that was so great. It was actually watchable basketball too, which is crazy. But let the rest of the league tell it was horrible. But no, it was great.
Yeah. Well, we've been on for about a usual, almost 2 hours. I do have all your social media links down in the description below, but why don't you tell people where they can find you, where they can read your articles, and how they can support your YouTube channel?
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Follow me on all my social medias at I am Eric Vincent. I think it's right here on the screen. You can tap in with me on Twitter, Facebook, IG, all of the above at I am Eric Vincent. All of my beat reporting is on clutchpoints.com. Just put out a piece about Cade's his bonus coming from the All-NBA nod on clutchpoints.com. Check out my writing on there. And of course, you can lock in on my YouTube channel, Top Title Detroit. I'm trying to get a little bit more active with that. I need to be a little more consistent. But if you want to go on my comments, go read me up and tell me I need to be better, I will try my best to do so. Top Title Detroit is the name of my channel. I really appreciate the support and love from y'all on that, man. It really means a lot to me.
So if people want to go read one of your articles, I have your clutchpoints.com just profile. I've found the link so they can go read your articles about Cade and his money that he's going to get with his new rookie Supermax. People want to follow you on Twitter. I got your Twitter link in the description, and I have your Top Title Detroit YouTube channel. It'll take you straight to his YouTube channel. You guys can go subscribe and support Eric and watch him go after Gilbert Arenas. So I mean,
I'm on his head no matter what. That's forever now.
I mean, look what he did to Pascal Siakam. Say he wasn't good, and then Pascal went for almost 40.
Exactly. That's the effects of Gilbert Arenas.
All right, you guys. We will see you next week. I have no idea what the hell I'm going to talk about. Maybe I'll do maybe I'll do season awards or something stupid like that. But
that'll be fun.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good Memorial Day weekend, and as always, go Pistons. Peace.